UK services, Lavazzi and book1.co.uk present the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast.
Hello and welcome to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast, episode 500 and whatever it was. 36. 536. I'm Adam, and would you care for some tea? And here is Benjamin Arthur Cedric Melrose, a shoveler.
Melrose.
Melrose shoveler, yes.
I don't know how you found out my other middle names, because I keep them very well hidden, but well done for finding them. My quote is, run.
Thank you. And Mariana Luby-Lum-Lums Lang.
Do your worst, Adolf.
What'd you call me? Roberia, whatever his name is, Thing. That's you, Robert, by the way.
Oh, me, okay.
Yeah.
TARDIS, bang bang, Daleks, boom.
Slartlet, Bloby, Cloner, butt bumps.
Danny boy to the doctor, Danny boy to the doctor.
Yes, today it's something with some Teletubbies in it.
Yeah.
Really?
And we're hoping for Mebera Delrose to join us. She's had some Skyping issues. I am under the suspicion that Skype has decided to limit the amount of people you can have on a call, because when I called her, on her own, it's fine. When I started trying to add people, no, didn't like that very much. But
if you want to kick me off, go ahead.
Okay. Right, how'd you get rid of one
See you
person?
next week then, Kirby. Thanks very much.
This is going to be a fast show.
Yes! That's another
Get it
program.
in under a half hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. The times that I've missed, you guys keep going on anyway.
Yeah, about interesting stuff, Kirby. Right, then let's make sure I get my jingles folder open. So we're gonna fly through. No little pun there. Fly through Victory of the Daleks, so as we can talk about more interesting stuff, like for instance my trip to a London Film and Comic Con.
Oh, yes, right.
And the golf, Ben? The golf was great.
And my quiz.
Oh, that too. And what we watched this week. So we
Have a
watched
quiz?
a few bits and bobs this week. Well, 2 weeks, because we haven't been out here for a couple of weeks, have we? Anyway,
I won't mark on the spreadsheet. I won't mark Debbie in yet.
So that's a bit we didn't really need to hear. Thanks for
But
that,
if she
Kirby.
does turn up, Kirby, you're going to have to mark her with a late mark.
Yes.
Lillian Robbins says you're right. Obviously referring to Ben.
How many late marks before you're kicked off the podcast, huh?
So
I
the
think
episode
you get 3 late
nearly
marks
begins.
before you get a suspension.
It nearly
And
begins.
after 3 suspensions, then you get terminated. Literally, we just send out round a Dalek.
Dalek around.
Right, sorry, I've got to turn my fan off, because otherwise you'll hear a noise in the background. Sorry about that.
You still get one from me, mate, because I'm not turning mine off, because it's 4,000 degrees in it.
Well, no, mine's 28.5 and rising.
Well, I'm
So
gonna put
the
my
episode
aircon on in a minute,
begins
so it's not
in
your-
some sort of bunker with Winston Churchill and some sort of uniformed clericals around about him. And he sort of basically goes on about, let's bring in the secret the secret weapon, and it's a little toy Dalek. I don't think the little toy Dalek's going to do them much good, but never mind, he slides it across.
You like some tea?
Earth was that? No, at the moment, Mary, thanks. I might have a drink of water because my throat's starting to get a bit, dry. Yes, and then we have the title sequence and da-da-da. The TARDIS materialises in Winston Churchill, cousin Winston's office, and mind you, cousin Winston probably could do with losing more pounds than I can do with losing.
You're telling me.
But I don't remember him being that chubby in the war, to be fair. But anyway, so and the Doctor opens the TARDIS and he has loads of guns pointed at him. But it was all in banter because he has a sort of welcome with his old friend Winnie. And then sort of Amy comes out and looks incredibly impressed with the whole situation. And then Churchill goes on about a few bits and bobs, and some young lady sort of worried about her fighter pilot, boyfriend, husband, or whatever it was at the time. I can't remember. Didn't quite glean whether it was a boyfriend or a husband. Shall we say romantic connection?
Yeah.
Nowadays,
Romantic interest.
yeah. Nowadays, even if it would have been a sort of go back in time episode, it would have been some sort of same-sex romantic connection, because that's what they do on TV these days. Brandon Moore says, "Sorry I'm late. I was just busy daydreaming about Dorabella." I should have called one of you Dorabella. And Lillian Robin says, "I'll always be your fan. You can't turn me off." I'm going to behave myself there. Thank you, Lillian. And then she says, "The woman in the bunker who loses her lover is named Lillian."
Oh.
Isn't that lovely? I wonder if she loses her stockings as well. Where do we get? Oh, tights. Sorry, I do apologise. Oh, leg attire. Hashtag Lillian's legs. Right then. Yes. So Churchill's quite eager to show the Doctor his secret weapon. So he takes him onto the roof, where I presume these planes are empty. They're just being flown by remote control that get done in. But, oh, look, hey,
I like the Doctor waving the smoke away from Winston as they're going up the elevator.
Indeed.
I noticed it.
Anyway, then of course he quickly realises by the Dalek sound effect that the BBC put on the shots that it was Daleks, and then we have a sort of the.
Can I just mention something with that shooting down those planes?
Yes.
Okay, that was done in a space of how many seconds?
They're Daleks,
and yet the Doctor's right in front of the Daleks later on, and
they can't.
They
shoot.
miss him, and
they
it's
can't
just
shoot
like,
for toffee, can they?
Ugh.
You're not happy about that, are you, Robert?
No.
You know, with those barrage balloons, do I see Rose hanging off?
Yeah.
What a surprise! Of course, that was because Rose hung off the only barrage balloon, or whatever you want to call them, in the whole war. Anyway, right. So the Doctor has Matt Smith has his inaugural argument with a Dalek. And, of course, these Daleks are called Ironsides. I think that's a little nod to the old detective that went around in a wheelchair in the 1970s.
Raymond Burr. Yes.
Raymond Burr. Or, as we called him in Britain, Raymond Burr. Of course, in America, it just sounds like he's really cold. Raymond needs to wrap something around himself. Raymond Burr. I do love the fact that when Churchill trying to defend this Dalek thing, or Ironsides, to the Doctor, there's a picture of the King and Queen behind him. I quite like that.
Yeah,
and I'm just moving forward a little bit. So, of course, there's this chap apparently who's invented these Ironsides. This Scottish bloke, and he's quite a central figure to the whole story. It's interesting to set that Amy doesn't get too close to the Daleks, because obviously they were actually designed for William Piper's height, shall we say, and of course Karen Gillan's quite tall, so it wouldn't quite look right. It'd have been looking straight at her boobies, and on we go. I'm just moving forward. There's not a lot going.
Yes, they do say in the Confidential that one of the reasons they made them taller, the new paradigm ones, was because of the taller companion.
Yes. Yes, well, that was rubbish, wasn't it? Anyway, so the Doctor is very eager to show the Daleks up for what they really are, and starts bashing one with a rather large.
Should have been a baseball bat, like that.
Yeah, should have been a baseball bat.
It's a rather large spanner, I think it was, and there's some stuff coming through on the live feed.
A rubber one.
You know, a spanner that big should weigh so much.
I know.
Right. It's a science fiction fantasy TV hammer.
Is it?
I mean, spanner. Right then, Brandon Moore says, and her lover is called Robin. Oh, very good. And then not really. Right then, so meanwhile, in space, we see that the Daleki spaceship, and eventually, to cut a sort of longer story short, the Daleks are deliberately winding up the Doctor by being nice and offering people tea and being... I am your soldier, and all that malarkey, just so he can bellow at them that he is the Doctor and he's fought them this, that, and the other. And, of course, that then triggers this, what is it, the evidence, or what they call it? What was it called?
Testimony.
The what?
Testimony.
That they are, and for some reason that then opens up some lock that enables the Daleks to be their real selves, and the Doctor gets transported.
Debbie's annoyed.
No, he gets the TARDIS and goes up to the Dalek spaceship, armed with a jammy dodger. I do have jammy dodgers in this.
Oh, are you just going through this super fast, or what?
Or do I need to go through any slower?
Adam.
Jammy dodgers. What?
Well, I wanted to point out that. Oh, by the way, does your jammy dodger have the heart in it? Because he's not holding a jammy dodger.
He's holding a BBC generic jam sandwich biscuit because they're not allowed to product place too much. Yes.
Master, I wanted to point out that a location.
Oh no.
Well, first of all,
I used to it.
Those war rooms. They actually found some real war rooms in Swansea, and redecorated a little bit. But it was
10 foot down.
Very nice. But the what's his name? Bracewell's office. We've seen that before. That is the same location where Elton and his little gang went up against the Absorbaloff. Got very, very distinct.
The classroom thing.
What do you call those? Rafters.
How about you?
Kirby's trying his hardest before us, trying to make a cup of tea. You know he's going to ignore us. Maybe you will go for a wee. Anyway. Tell you what, the temperature's gone up now. Just for me getting stressed out, it's gone up 2 degrees to 28.7. Right.
Out.
I can't remember what I got up to now. Oh, yeah, so the Doctor's on the spaceship armed with Oh, jeez. Yes?
Mary, Debbie's saying that having bloody tech. So
yeah, I thought she might be.
Still having troubles.
Brandon Moore says, maybe it's a sonic spanner. And then Terry Marr says, I've used spanners that big. They aren't that heavy, so no.
Well, they are.
What do you use a spanner like that for?
What do you mean?
For heavy industrial
for turning
work,
great
like,
big nuts. That could be a bit of a... I'm moving back to Doctor Who. Right, so where do we go up to? So the Doctor's on the spaceship armed with a ferocious jammy dodger. I do like that jammy dodger aspect. I think it's quite good fun. Silly, but fun. Sort of fun I like. I like the idea that the TARDIS, in its little sort of thing, it obviously gives birth to sonic screwdrivers and jammy dodgers. Just a bit disappointed that TARDIS couldn't actually work out what a real jammy dodger was. It's a brand of... I've got a tin here. It's got jammy dodgers. It's got a picture of lovely... a real jammy dodger on it, and the real jammy dodger has JD actually in it, and it's a heart-shaped middle bit, and they're raspberry and apple flavoured jam.
It has Jack Daniels in it.
Not allowed to
It's
have.
got Jack Daniels in it. That'd be nice off the idea. Jammy dodger with Jack Daniels flavoured jam. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Ben?
Yeah, I'd go for that.
No.
I'll be quiet.
No, he's on a diet, Adam.
Right. So anyway, so Amy's a bit sort of bamboozled because she wants to be with the Doctor because he's having all the fun up in the spaceship with the ferocious Daleks. Anyway, eventually, after some backwards and forwards comedy between the Doctor and the war Dalek, the army Daleks, the Teletubby Daleks come out of a little room, and the Doctor, the expression on Matt Smith's face is, "What the hell?" And interestingly, above some of the Daleks, so what looks like there's a TV program from the 1960s called Star Trek, Kirby, and the thing above them looks like that little thing from the transporter pad that used to beam people out of the Enterprise and back in again or whatever. So there's an opportunity there to get rid of them quickly, but it didn't happen.
That's room that's on the spaceship is apparently
Is it a tobacco place?
Yeah, it's part of a cigar factory that has now been torn down.
Yawn.
They probably gave Churchill his cigars.
Yawn. Anyway, so after there was a bit of a skirmish, wasn't there, a bit earlier on, where the Scottish professor bloke got his hand blown off and it turned out to be like a robot hand. What?
His name is Bracewell.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yes, he didn't brace well enough, did he? Because he got his hand shot off. Anyway, he's sulking now because he's going to shoot himself because he feels like he's a real human being, but now he knows he was created by the Daleks as a tool.
But he didn't have the gun facing towards him either.
he did get to that part. It's a bit harsh to put that bit in, Robert.
No, they couldn't show that kind of thing on TV anyway.
No, that wouldn't be appropriate
For kids.
Well, if for anybody really. Anyway, so Amy and Winston, our cousin Winnie, are trying to talk him out of it, while the Paradigm Daleks, or Teletubbies, depending on what you want to call them, destroy the Daleks that helped them come into existence. I think, is it because they're not pure or something stupid?
Something like that, yeah. The 1 minute the Daleks are trying to find the thing that makes humans or the Doctor successful against them by adding that to them, and obviously therefore making them impure, and the next minute they're trying to make themselves pure and back to being rubbish again. Meanwhile, so there's a battle is being initiated by the warmongers down things. So they send up. There's this special load of Spitfires apparently that can fly in space.
Can I just mention something with that? How
Please.
in the hell, within the space of I don't know how many hours, they've
5
suddenly
minutes.
got these?
It's 5 minutes.
They've got them to ready up and
they
flying.
didn't state how long these had been in development for.
No. The idea, I believe it's Amy goes, oh, we could do this because Bracewell mentioned that there's these bubbles that he had this idea for. So
Gravitational bubbles, yeah.
yeah, gravitational bubbles, and so she comes up with the idea of adapting them to the Spitfires, and then 5 minutes later they're by the moon.
Well, in sort of science fiction, fantasy TV sort of jargon, it is feasible that they could have got this going quite quickly if they had the bubble technology in place. All you had to do was attach it to an object. In a science fiction fantasy,
Pretty unrealistic though.
it's a science fiction.
I'm
pretty
willing
unrealistic.
all of a
An
sudden do we
immortal
think they're
bloke
realistic?
flying around in a blue box with police box on it,
I'm willing
and you're
to-
worried about a
Secondary.
Spitfire with a
Yeah,
bobble
where
on
did
it.
this demand for realism suddenly come from?
if they had established it earlier that they already
Well,
had
they
the
essentially.
Spitfires,
I don't think it
wouldn't
works.
have
Yeah.
had a problem.
They said they already had the
Quite that,
technology. There was no reason to go deeply into the technology, but we can
That's-
accept
yeah.
they said it's there, that they could just install it into
The
a.
thing that ruins it is Amy
Oh,
comes up
geez.
with the idea.
The only thing that's far-fetched about it is that these Spitfire pilots could actually pilot them in space.
I know.
That's the far-fetched bit, because there's no air in space
That's
and they
true.
require.
I mean, do we think there's real Teletubbies out there in the world?
Of course there are.
Anyway, so the Spitfires go attacking the Dalek ship, but most of them get done in, apart from Danny Boy, who apparently is voiced by Mark Gatiss.
Yes.
He sort of makes friends over the airways with the Doctor, who more or less sacrifices him because he has to go in, and the Doctor, who perhaps earlier on could have disabled the Dalek shield, disables the Dalek shield, so is that a bit like Star Wars. They can get in and shoot at the sort of main part of the weak part of the spaceship and destroy it. So that gets done, and they all get back to Earth to find poor old Scottish bloke Bracewell, or whatever his name is, lying on the ground. He's
no, the doctor runs.
He
up
punches
to
him.
and
He punches him. Yes,
and I love the sound effect.
Yes, you're right. Anyway, he punches him, and he falls over, and he's obviously a bomb. He's a living bomb, so they're going to try and talk him into believing he's actually a sentient person. So the Doctor tries, and being the Doctor, wasn't that good at it, and of course Amy, being a girl, was very good at convincing him that he has a soul and a heart, because she reminds him about the woman Dorabella, or whatever her name is, that he was in love with in his made up youth. And so he doesn't blow up after all, and everything is saved, of course.
Well, thanks to Amy.
Thanks to Amy. And that's about it, really, isn't it? And off they warp. But as they warp away, they need to get that polyfiller out again, because there's a big crack in the wall behind the TARDIS.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And the Doctor's worried that Amy doesn't remember the Daleks.
Yeah, they
little
really
hint.
stressed
That's
that.
to do with the Pandorica, which will come up later.
Yeah, but
in
we
the
don't know
series.
that yet, do we?
We do, because it was said in episode 1, Robert, if you pay attention, the Pandorica will open. We know that from...
No, it's not
the first
specifically
episode.
Pandorica. It's that the crack is pulling things
Yeah,
through
the
it.
silence will fall, the
That's what I
Pandorica
mean,
will
we
open,
don't
blah, blah,
really
blah, blah, blah.
know at this stage.
Lillian Robbins says he pulls the biscuit out. It's a blimmin' jammy dodger, Lillian, out of his pocket. It should be covered in pocket lint. Obviously, it's a thing that Lillian has done on several
That's right.
occasions and found pocket lint flavoured biscuits. And Brandon Moore says his poacket. Brandon's classic. His poackets are bigger on the inside. His poackets. Oh dear, I love it when his typos are legendary. Thanks for that, Brandon. Right then, so what I thought of Victor of the Daleks. I've been listening to oldish, fairly newish, about a year ago episodes of the show, which Ben is actually brilliant, I have to say, and all of them, and the ones he does now. Obviously coached under my design, but still very good.
Yeah. I mean, I lay my entire career to you.
Thank you. Well,
Talking about
modern
that,
career,
I've
Ben.
got a
Hang on, I'm in the middle
later.
of saying what I think about it. Go on then.
Well, I said later.
Oh, okay, thank you. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, yes, about old episodes of the show that I'm listening to.
You actually
And
listening
Hayes
to
really...
them?
Pardon?
You're actually listening to them?
Yeah, just to decide whether to give up sooner rather than later, see if it's worth carrying on, Robert. But they're pretty quiet. There was one episode which was hilarious, but I can't remember what it was. It was because we got the next episode to listen to. Somebody actually wrote in to say it was hilarious, and I was laughing. I listened to it at work, and I was just chuckling away to myself out of my genius comedy. So this episode was. It's just this Dalek thing that we were talking about. Every time a Dalek episode comes along, it says of the Daleks. So I thought there must be running out of nouns or of verbs that they could use, to something of the Daleks. Maybe Dalek of the Daleks or something like that. I don't know. But
The memory of the Daleks?
yes,
Yeah.
you can't be bothered to mention the
Teletubby
Daleks of the
Daleks?
Daleks. Yeah. It's such a shame. I think most people are a bit. Even non-Doctor Who fans are a bit fed up with when you see the Daleks being mentioned as the title, or even in a trailer for a story coming up. But the difference between that, I think every Doctor should meet them. Yeah, so that's fine. But I liked the look of the Daleks until they became Teletubbies in this. I love those sort of cammied up Daleks. I thought they looked fab, especially with the little Union Jacks on them and everything.
Yeah.
I like the sinisterness of "Would you like a cup of tea? I am your soldier." All this, because you knew there was something behind it, and the Doctor loses his rag. And of course, there's this thing where they beat me at the end, and Amy talked him around. Oh yeah, it was quite good, wasn't I? But on the whole, I think it was just a little fun filler episode, and it was ruined by the Paradigm Dalek entrance because everybody thought, "Oh no, what they've done." And I know that was a genuine attempt to change them because that one of those design Daleks does appear later in the series. They sort of did a big U-turn and decided that the design they brought in for Rose or Dalek was the best design we've had so far.
I mean, these are strictly for marketing purposes.
Yeah, and they're not good. I mean, the best marketing one, I think probably the one that sold the better, was the one that they brought out in the cami gear. I was after one of them, but they sold so quickly that was it.
Would do.
They were the best concept, and that was the best part of this story, apart from the little gags with Jamie Dodgers and Karen Gillan still looking beautiful. It was okay. I quite enjoyed it, to be fair. I think that, like I say, they're fairly sort of overly sort of unbelievable stuff happening in, and things that seem to have been thought up in the last minute and just written in with a couple of throwaway lines, probably by Moffat, to be fair. But I think it was just a little Doctor Who episode that we can just enjoy as a sort of almost like a filler episode. I'm glad it was not a two-parter though, but it coasted along
It would have
okay.
made sense if they made it a two-parter.
I didn't find it boring. It was all right. What did you think about it then, Ben?
Well, it's then why it was. I
didn't
can't
watch it,
remember
did
a
you?
lot about it.
You didn't watch it,
I
did you?
didn't rewatch it.
No.
'cause I've got many better things to do. But in
Did you watch it in
reference,
the first instance, though?
yeah, I remember watching it when it was originally on, and I remember seeing the big Daleks and thinking, "Oh, they're big Daleks." but as far as the plot goes, it doesn't stick with me. I really can't remember anything about it. Apart from the
You should have
different
watched it
coloured
then.
I had many, many, many better things to watch than a Steve Moppet episode. Although I did, I mean, this is slightly jumping the gun on podcast how we lay it out every week, but I did end up watching a couple of episodes of the British TV comedy Coupling.
Yeah, what's that got to do with it?
And I loved that TV show when it was on in the 90s, and then I watched it, and I was absolutely mortified to find out it was written by Stephen Moffat. And I watched no more episodes. No, that's a lie. I watched 2 more, actually, because it's got Sarah Alexander in it. And there's a link to Sarah Alexander coming later. Anyway, so as far as the condiments of the Daleks, I'll give it a 7 out of 53.
Thank you for that. Robert, what did you think?
Like all episodes that I seem to be going into now, is I try to approach them fresh, and I think I enjoyed it more so than when I first saw it. It is just a filler episode, and it's a little bit of fun kind of thing. I mean, there are silly things like I've already spoken of with the, they can shoot. One Dalek can shoot down all these planes at once, and yet, can't miss the Doctor. I mean, miss the Doctor who's like a couple of meters in front of him. So I think that's pretty silly. But yeah, it was okay. And the silly thing with the what's the name as well? The
what's the name? Biscuit.
No, because I just got distracted by your message there. That's why.
I'd stop paying attention to what I'm writing on my messages to Mrs. Melrose.
And I did like the camouflage Daleks. They'd even done their speaking ears. The lights on that. They'd even covered those on when they were outside. Oh. And I thought that was a pretty nice little attention to detail there. It wasn't bad if you just approach it for what it is, but it could have been. I don't know. It's just a light throwaway episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. It's a right throwaway episode, just a little comedy jaunt, essentially.
But those new Daleks, I'm glad they didn't stick around. They just
they were bloody awful. Kirby, what did you think?
It looks wonderful. It's BBC history. The design of the Daleks, the War Daleks, or what, the Ironsides, Churchill. It had so much promise. Yeah. And the first 20 minutes are just great, and then bring in the Teletubby Daleks, and except for the fact that I had never even heard of a Jammy Dodger until that point, and now I go out of my way to buy them.
Oh, they're nice, aren't they?
Rubbish, absolute rubbish. It's not a filler episode. It's a void unless I have to do it for a podcast episode.
Is that it?
Yes.
No.
Worse than the Black Spot? Curse of the Black Spot? Or,
the Curse of the Bad Plot is worse, but Orphan 55 is the absolute bottom.
Okay. Right then, everybody, here we go. What do you think of it, Mary? I'm sure there's a tune coming from Ben.
Well, it's kind of sad. The first episode that introduces this 11th Doctor is so strong and so much fun, and then that's immediately followed by 2 pretty weak throwaway episodes. And I just wonder if they lost viewers, after that.
Yes, I'd say. Yeah.
Lost me.
I'd say, gosh, I thought this was going to be good, but boy, these episodes that follow are pretty bad. Some things I want to say is that Ian McNeice makes a wonderful Churchill.
Oh, he's very good, yes.
Yeah, of course, that's
he played it before, hasn't he? Something else?
Yeah, I mean, he does stage plays, he does all kinds of, he plays him a lot, so he's really got him down. And Yeah, and I wanted to mention Amy not remembering, the Daleks, or the events of Stolen Earth and all that. They really lean on that, so I'm sure that that's going to be significant. And you say it has to do with the Pandorica. So I'll, hold off until that. And the Teletubby Daleks, I hated them. To me, it just looks like a what is it? Just a marketing ploy, just to sell a lot of Daleks and make it kid friendly and all that. It's almost like candy Daleks. And the thing is, there's not much to this story. The denouement goes on forever. I mean, saying goodbye to Churchill, then Amy and the Doctor leaning on the TARDIS and talking.
Exactly, yeah.
And the Doctor worrying about the Daleks. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's like, when is this going to end? So there wasn't much story to tell. But the sparkle that Karen brings to all of this, I can't take my eyes off of her. She's so much fun to watch, and she's already turning out to be pretty crucial to the Doctor's plans and all that. I mean, she's the one who turned, is it Bracewell's thing around, and I know, because I have the benefit of hindsight, that she's going to be instrumental in a lot of episodes. So I just love Karen Gillan, and I want the pond thing to go on forever.
I think what it is with the one thing that Moffat his idea was to make the Doctor alien again, because obviously the Tenant Doctor, although was a Time Lord, was very much understood what it was like to be human and stuff like that. Whereas I liked some of the Moffat Doctor's sort of slight confusion about human nature.
Yeah.
And that's what Amy's job in that was, to show Bracewell some human compassion, because the Doctor didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
He loves the humans, but he does sometimes, because he's an alien, he doesn't quite get the deepness of it.
Too far for Capaldi.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He made it totally unrelatable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But anyway, to me, this
Even
is just
Clara.
another kind of boring throwaway. I mean, it has fun things to it, but I realize I've never watched it from the first time I watched it, and now I know why. So that's
Yeah.
Marvellous. Well, thank you very much, Mary. Right then, that means that Ben is just about to sort of air his dulcet tones in the direction of Mr. Bartlett's slow.
Sort of?
Well, sort of. I mean, more like definitely.
Yeah.
Ooh, what on earth was that? Oh, think that.
He asks you what you think, and it normally goes well, but as he's an American, he'd say
Swell.
So here's what you think. In content it doesn't lack. It's Kirby Bartlett Sloan and his pedantic feedback.
Look, I'm half expecting Kirby to do what he normally does. Hang on.
No, I've been refreshing the page to make sure I had everything.
Wow, it's
But I'm
turning
right-
over
I'm
a
not
new
being
leaf.
pedantic
The and I'm not going to read some of these because they're responses to things that I've already said. So there. Okay, the first comment was from Lillian, who posted a animated GIF or GIF of the
Put
Teletubby
it a
Daleks with popping up with Teletubby heads.
She
Pretty
said.
funny. Neil James says, Victory of the Daleks. Sorry. This is a quick one. Great guest cast and the effects are strong. I continue to enjoy the 11th Doctor and Amy partnership, but I find the Daleks dull and the story a tad forgettable. One other thing I like is how scruffy Matt Smith looks in this story. Later on, his hair gets shorter and he looks a lot smarter, but here he's really is a raggedy man. 3 stars out of 5.
Oh, good pick there, the Raggedy Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Lillian responds to his saying, sorry, this is a quick one, by saying, that's what she said. And I don't know who this is that he posted a picture of in response.
Rick Mao.
Do you know?
Ooh, what's the echo all about?
Yeah, why is there an echo?
Echo.
Echo.
No, stop now.
Stop now.
I'll bet that Ben did something.
I
Yes.
That sneaky guy with the soundboard.
Mm.
Okay, I am skipping all of my responses there. Mr. M says, yeah, well, he had a bit of work done. Apologies for missing your last recording, so just a few quick opinions on The Beast Below first. It's an okay story. Not good, not great. The Smilers didn't really work. Love Liz 10, though. It was very Roald Dahl-esque.
Hey.
Yeah.
Road Daleks. Art Daleks.
Victory of the Daleks by Mark Gatiss.
I like that.
This is a Marmite story, mostly due to the Marmite Daleks. I could make a joke that Daleks made of Marmite would have been a better idea than the multicolored plastic baubles that were ultimately designed. But I actually don't dislike them as much as the rest of fandom seems to. I wouldn't go so far to say that I like them, but they're okay. Nice and big. What is that noise?
It's not me. I'm not doing anything.
Jeez, Ben. Sorry, listeners, ears. That now you have to get your what they call them eardrums reconnected.
I didn't do anything. No, I'm actually sitting listening to Kirby.
Oh, sorry. It came through very loud.
Yes, I wouldn't go so far as to say that I like them, but they're okay. Nice and big and bulky is good. Not sure about the humps, though.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, they got humpbacks.
And as an aside, the Dalek operators for those things hated them. Back to Mr. M. As for the episode itself, it's a good plot. The Daleks going undercover is a nice idea, and Smith is very good up against them. Churchill works well as a broad interpretation. A more realistic version could be done by the show, but there wouldn't have been space for him in the episode. And Karen Gillan is hot, especially in that short skirt. The story does fall down with its weak resolution. The victory of the title does mean the plot essentially stops for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not too keen on the Bracewell bot and Space Spitfires either. Overall, I'd give this a 6.5 out of 10. Next time, spoilers again.
Mm.
Robert Wentz Jr. says it's a good line. It's a jammy dodger, but I was promised tea. And he has very short feedback this time. I didn't care too much for this episode. Amy's crack was showing at the end of the episode.
Was it? I missed that bit.
Ooh.
Amy's crack was showing at the end of the episode as the TARDIS departed. The new shape of the Daleks with the big butts, the multiple colored Daleks, not too keen on them, but was better than The Beast Below. Still an above average episode 3.5 out of 5.
Thank you. I will say Bracewell, and the thing that annoyed me the most about him, he couldn't pronounce the word Dalek. He was worse than the Americans. Americans can't even pronounce Davros, as I've alluded to on many occasions. Go on then.
Say it, Kirby.
Davros.
So why do most Americans call him Davros then?
And I also know how to say Dalek.
I know you're not Scottish though, are you?
You're typical American.
Dalek. Anyway, so thank you very much, Burby. Dalek. So, I sent over to the lovely Mary some blurb to dictate from the even lovelier Linda and Terry Miles.
Yes, okay. And I do want to say before I start reading this, I did have the great pleasure of having some drinks with Ian McNeice. And
name dropping. We have to have a name dropping sound effect, Ben.
What's the name of the guy who plays the blue guy?
The blue guy? What? Yeah, I know you mean. That would be Simon Fisher Becker.
Simon Fisher.
Yeah, and I want you to know that they are two of the most delightful men. We had the best, and long conversation all about comparing British and American politics, and I had a really wonderful evening with it. So there you go. Anyway, so Terry Miles writes, it's Winston, and he needs help from the doctor who arrives 2 months late. What could be the problem, or what could the problem be? The Germans have invaded most of Europe, and they are bombing the hell out of the British public. No, he has a new toy that serves tea in china cups. Very British. It's been such a long time since we've seen the Daleks, I'd forgotten what they looked like. It was about time Bill Patterson appeared in Doctor Who. He was brilliant as Bracewell. Oh, look, more Dalek merchandise, British Army Daleks and Teletubby Daleks. I'm glad the backlash the BBC received made them change their minds about the redesign. They looked rubbish. Danny Boy sounded like a certain author/actor by name of Mark Gatiss.
Oh.
Could Bracewell have been any thicker? Typical machine, couldn't take the hint. He had better still be there when they get back doing that thing they had to do. The doctor missed a chance to help someone in distress. He could have popped over to the English Channel and rescued that WRAF plotter's boyfriend. Why did I want a cup of tea after watching this one? Stay safe and well, everybody. Linda and Terry Miles.
Who was in distress?
Doctor was in distress.
Oh, I thought it was Amy in a skirt.
That's terrible.
No, it's not. Right then, so we also have this.
Hello, 20 Megabyte Podcast. This is Ian Kirk.
Hello, Ian.
Hi, Captain.
Victory of the Daleks by Mark Gatiss. KBO. The barrage balloons around Big Ben remind me of the time Rose Tyler took a ride on one. Jammy Dodgers are a type of biscuit in the UK.
Delicious biscuit.
There are new, different coloured Daleks in this. Is that to be inclusive? The new Daleks are taller because Amy Pond is taller than Rose Tyler, and they want the companion to be able to look them in the eye stalk.
That never happened.
Bracewell diffuses himself using the power of love for a woman in his imagined biography. There is going to be more power of love this year. Bracewell thinks he is from Paisley. Stephen Moffat is from Paisley.
Well, there you go.
The German bombers are 10 minutes away, and the Daleks have lit up London. Pond and Churchill talk to Bracewell, and they design and build space drives and put them on Spitfires. They fly into space and attack the Dalek saucer, all in time to turn off the London lights. Fantasy? No, plot hole.
Yes.
There has to be some plausible constraints, even in fantasy. The Doctor can disrupt the Dalek saucer shield, but he does not do it until 2 of the space Spitfires have been destroyed.
Yeah, how mean.
There was a time delay on the Bracewell bomb, just so they had an opportunity to defuse it.
That's true.
Amy does a lot to resolve the problems in this story, as she did last time. Churchill was good.
Oh, yes.
I bought Lost at Christmas from Amazon Prime. The 2 main characters meet, for the second time, at a railway station. I wonder if this was a tribute to the 1945 film called Brief Encounter. This being a Scottish station, the train is cancelled by snow. They end up snowed in at a pub in the Scottish Highlands. There is a plunger in this, as the landlord needs to unblock a toilet. Sylvester McCoy and Fraser Hines play 2 other guests.
Oh.
Caitlin Blackwood has a very minor role.
Does she?
Please excuse me, I have duties to perform. Bye for now.
I didn't know those bits. See, that's how it's done, Kirby.
Well, I have some more bits of information about Lost at Christmas.
Go on then, very briefly.
Over here, it's available on Amazon Prime, but it's free to watch if you've got Prime. You don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And also, Caitlin Blackwood's character is named Clara.
Yeah.
Never.
No reuse there of certain things.
No. Oh yes, we've got more stuff coming through, haven't we? I've lost the page. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we've got this. This is a bit where you can sort of put your feedback and enjoy. It's Andy Nunny.
Well, good afternoon, 20 Megabytes. It's Andy Nunny here. It is Sunday afternoon. It's been a busy day. I went to church this morning, and then I stayed there because I was cooking at the church barbecue. It was just a shack because I stank of smoke, so I'm sitting here in a Harlequin's towel. Yes, no. There's an image. Well, I think we know about it, so let's not bother going in there. However, I came back and I did some ironing, and Stormageddon and I watched the Victory of the Daleks, which is... It's all right, really, isn't it? You know, it's not spectacular. It's an interesting play on the fact that Daleks set somebody up to think he invented them, and therefore they were coming in. But it was never really clear what they were trying to do. I mean, we never got to the bottom of that. So we want to win the war, but what was their actual what were they trying to achieve, and how were they going to achieve it? It just never really came clear. It just seemed to be just a way of getting the story in with Daleks in, and it just sort of went along, and that was it. They didn't. It just didn't flow, I think.
What was that? Hang on, let's pause Andy. I love the concept of pausing Andy in mid-flow. What was that, Ben?
I've got no idea.
It sounded like Oasis.
Yeah, well, it may have been.
Oh, okay.
But that's really bizarre, because I don't know how you heard that, because you've never heard that before when I've done this. I don't know how...
I did then.
I don't know...
Interrupting us, Ben.
Right, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
If I do that, I can't hear you. Can you hear that?
Yes.
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 Did you hear...
Yes.
Can you hear that?
What?
Ah, right, okay, so I can do it like that. Right,
okay.
I'm still here.
Resuming, Mr. Andy Nunny.
It just didn't flow, I think, for me. And there were some good bits about the way that I think Ian McNeese as Churchill was very, very good. And, they keep bugging on, and you can see him, he's desperate to win the war. And so they use these, he's got this strange weapon that he's suddenly been given.
Oh, yes.
I thought that the Spitfires in space is a bit silly. I mean, the fact that, he'd invented them, yet what's happened to them? Did they just disappear out of space? Did everyone just forget about them as well? That's what didn't work for me. It was just, there was too much there to be forgotten, or that wouldn't become elsewhere. And I think that's why it just didn't work. You couldn't have this story, if you like it. Bracewell, Bracewell is a human being. He's not a human being. Of course, he's never going to be a human being. So what's going to happen to him? Just another loose end. That was the problem with this. I thought Karen Gillan was very good. The way certainly the way she reacted to Bracewell to try and get him to to reverse that bomb. I think that was a bit silly the way they were doing that. So Doctor himself, he's trying to find out what the Daleks are trying to do, and of course we end up with the Teletubby Daleks, and oh dear Lord, thank God they didn't last very long. I think that's the main thing. They really were. The thought behind them about having a new race of Daleks that wouldn't take the inferior Daleks as being anything to do with them anymore and therefore destroy them. It works in principle, but simply the way you have the Daleks, the different colours, and they were bulbous. They weren't Daleks. I think that's the problem. You'll be losing that menace, that sleekness,
coming through.
I mean, the fact that they've got the dark colours. You don't have brightly coloured Daleks because they're not bright, are they? It just was wrong. Unfortunately, it didn't win. So overall, it was a good filler story. There's a lot of holes in it. It's not one that you'll remember. I think there's too much in there to say, well, how on earth could that have happened? That it just, it was all right. Oh well. Be seeing you.
Yes, thank you very much, Andy. That was Andy Nunny, everybody.
Can I just say something?
I suppose so.
No, it's just about, wasn't the Daleks' plan to bring the Doctor there by their interference with things so that the Doctor would open that testimony thing by saying, oh, these are the Daleks, blah, blah, blah?
Yes.
Wasn't that the idea, though? Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe so. Stuff coming through on the live feed. Lillian Robin says, should I have said cookie? No, cookies have got little chocolate chips in them and stuff. And then Brandon Moore said, echo. Oh, I see, because of the funny echo that was going on about 13 minutes ago. I won't say funny echo. I wouldn't funny ha-ha. I mean funny as in, oh, never mind, peculiar.
Weird.
Yes.
Odd. Strange.
Right. I was going to write a little bit of music for Ben's next segment of the show, because it is, of course, the musings of Alan T. Butcher.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
I am here. It's just that I've just got to turn all my fans off. Hold on. That's better. The aircon's already off. Otherwise, it's very unprofessional, isn't it?
It's 29.2 in here now.
The one thing that I do insist on the podcast is professionality
and sarcasm, of course. Yes.
haven't read this through yet because I've been too busy not doing anything else.
Yeah, we heard some beeps and boops anyway.
Yeah, that's it. You heard the beeps and the boops because hold on, I've turned that back up. That's fine. Because I'd left the fader up for the computer that I play everything off of. But I don't do the editing on that one. I have to do it on the other one, which you heard the edit. Which I don't know how you heard that because the fader was down, and it shouldn't have come back through the sys. But anyway, it gives a monkeys.
Fader.
Just have to remember to do it, not do it next week. Do you know what?
Very good. Actually, I'm going to give Robert a ding for that. That was almost good.
Thank you.
Darth Vader. No, well, they are all black, so it could be a Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah.
Anyway, get Daleks it done, or Paridiums on parade. Dear 20 Megabyters, Victory of the Daleks is, of course, a closely studied critique of the adoption of questionable methods in wartime. Here, the Daleks are shown to have infiltrated into the British operations of the Second World War, with Churchill having been persuaded to accept them in the dire circumstances facing the nation. This obviously analogues to the methodology that was in fact controversially adopted later in that conflict once resources and technology allowed to launch a massive bombing raid on German cities regardless of the consequences to civilians and despite the knowledge of how horrific this had been for the civilians when practiced by the Germans.
I'm not laughing at the sentiment in that sentence. I was laughing at the lack of punctuation.
I'm glad you were laughing at my struggles. Hold on, let me take myself up a bit.
We live to please.
Commas do exist, Alan. There are. I'm pretty sure the comma is on the keyboard somewhere.
Yeah, it's just not on the Labour manifesto. In this, I bet he's had an absolute. He has had a ball this fortnight. I've seen his Facebook posts. In this morality tale, the Spitfires, which had done so much to see of that earlier German threat. It's meant to say see off, but it is just see off that earlier German threat. I used to see of the Daleks once the full truth of them is identified and faced up to. It should be noted that while he looks over his glasses to make sure he hits the right thing, it should be noted that the Spitfires in space is just too ridiculous. In fact, Kirby!
It's a science fiction fantasy TV show.
And the bar is set at police box travels through time and space. So they should just. I couldn't do any better than that because the song is acquiesce, but they don't say acquiesce in it, which is why he did that. And he's gone very, very down in my estimations because it's the one thing one of the things I most enjoy about this is getting this and then editing the little clip within 30 seconds of receiving it. So, so Alan C. Butcher, thank you for ruining my Sunday night. I'm only joking. The wife does that every week. We also I'm joking about that. It's the daughters. We also learned that the Dalek created automaton Professor Bracewell.
Automaton.
That's what I said. It just obviously glitched at your end. Automaton Professor Bracewell, see, I said it right, went on to work for the Public Prosecution Service and later handed over the Fifth Doctor, who worked undercover in the same role as Martha Jones's boss after her change of career from the medical to the legal profession. All in all, Victory of the Daleks is a fun story with lots of attractive elements and ideas. It serves well to develop and establish the new Doctor, just as the Power of the Daleks did for the second Doctor. It does share some similarities with that story, although contextualised very differently, and therefore doing something a bit different with the Daleks.
I noticed you breathed there when I didn't see any commas at all in that sentence. So
yeah, it's the it's the will of life.
Yeah.
Because the last time I did it, and last podcast we were doing, I was sat here with a COVID test that had a very faint line on it. The next day it wasn't so faint. So my lungs are still a little bit. Anyway, so that's why I had to put a comma in where there wasn't one. Just accept it. This excellent guest cast brings a reality to a fairly fantastical storyline, and the TARDIS team are settling into their roles in an exceptionally empathetic pairing. The new showrunner must take credit for bugger all. Sorry, that just came out. I should read what's here. Very unprofessional.
Freudian slip.
It absolutely wasn't. The new showrunner must take credit for both fantastic casting and a really well-judged sense of narratives that have put the series on a very firm footing after a complete change.
Yes, it is a series.
Yes, the entire thing is a series, Kirby. You have series within a series. This story is perhaps about 44 minutes too short, as it didn't go on to show the now topical issue of what happened next when the questionable morality of the current manifestation of a reprehensible group is uncovered. It's all right, we'll get the chance to see that next time. Labour are in power, mate. I don't mean that. Yes, I do. And it presents 5 new versions of the same thing, which are not any good as if they are putting forward a clean start with a new parodidium. I am watching the Tory leadership debate right now. Oh, see what he did there? I didn't see that coming at all. That's brilliant.
Politics. Boring.
Little bit of politics there.
Next up, Doctor Who and what the?
Lacrimous Seraphim Effigies
and Time or the River Bursts from the Existential Penitentiary.
No, yeah, it is that. Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, it is penitentiary. Yeah. Thanks, teacher.
Yeah, all right. God, right.
Jesus.
Right, a bit of chalk coming your way in a minute.
And you're correcting me before I've got it wrong.
I've done a little poem for you as well. That's a gratitude I get.
Those are my thoughts. The very Labour. Alan T. Butcher. Boris.
Right, I'm still going to do the poem anyway. Ben Shoveler is going to dictate, with his dulcet tones he's going to relate the thoughts of a certain counsellor, a close study of Alan T. Butcher.
Oh, that's very not bad.
Thank you. I actually said it wrong. It's actually the close studies of Alan T. Butcher. Right then, that's a little poem I did for Ben.
Thank you. Hold on a minute. I've got something for you.
I thought we were going to get something derogatory. Right then, so I'm going to allow Ben a little bit of time to set up his gubbins. I suppose unless you've got your gubbins ready, because I heard you say something about removing Debbie Melrose from the whole thing.
Well, the problem is she's going to have to be in the introduction, or it won't make sense. And
how do you know she was? Oh, of course, she must have said earlier on the feed that she was going to be.
No, I didn't know she was. I thought she was going to be here. So, Anyway, I'm ready when everybody else is. Is everybody else ready?
I'm ready.
As will ever be.
Right then, don't forget.
I can't go out and make a cup of tea while you do the theme tune.
Ever ready battery.
You can, Adam. Yes, you probably will have enough time.
Let's check to see if anything's coming through on the live feed. Hang on, yes there is. Ben Alan T. Butcher says Ben was snookered. Sorry.
Well, yeah. I mean, what am I meant to do? You provide me a song without the word that they actually say in the title. I mean, what am I meant to do on that? That's why I played the best bit of it. Anyway, if everybody's ready, remember the rules. No talking through the introduction, because it took me a long time to make, and I like hearing my own words.
And now, live from the Indie Rock Disco Radio Studio 1, the game show nobody's talking about. This is How Aged Are They?
How aged are they? How aged are they? How aged are they? That's what the game's about. How aged are they?
What?
How aged are they?
Who?
How aged are they? Get ready to find out.
And here's your host, Ben Shoveler.
Hello and welcome to How Aged Are They, the Doctor Who actor who's recently had a birthday aged guessing game quiz. Still, the main reason for listening to the 20 megabyte Doctor Who podcast. The rules are simple. 3 rounds, 3 Doctor Who actors or voiceovers with recent birthdays. Contestants guess their age. Points are given for accuracy, and the winner has the least points. For full T's and C's and rules, check a previous podcast. There are rules which may or may not be implemented if they're remembered. That's so no one tries to spoil the "it says here" fun. The weekly scores and bonuses are being added up by Kirby because everyone else has lost interest. But before we play this week, let's quickly meet this week's contestants. Adam, 92, likes going to market. Mary, 21, likes staying at home. Debbie, 53, likes roast beef. Robert, 69, has none. And finally, Kirby went wee all the way home as he's got a very weak bladder. And those are this week's contestants. The scores after a few months of playing sound like this. Enough faff. Let's play. How aged are they? Round 1. The actor is David Mitchell. David Mitchell. He was Robot 1's voice in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. He was also star or half star of the Mitchell and Webb Experience. His birthday was the 14th of July. But how aged are they? Adam Pearson.
47.
Mary Blitz Lang. 50. Robert.
Can you turn down the music because I couldn't hear what Mary said?
She said 50.
The levels have been adjusted for your ears.
Yeah.
Good.
He's a bit moany today, Ben. You've noticed that?
That's all right. I didn't realise his ears and his bladder were both. That'll be next week. Anyway,
Kirby.
Robert, what number do you say?
52.
52. And Kirby?
Did anyone say 51?
No.
Okay, 51.
Kirby, you just said 51.
Yeah.
I did?
That's an answer to his previous question. Round 2. Round 2 is John Sim. John Sim played, and it says here, maybe controversially, the best master ever. He was born on the 10th of July, but what year was he born, and how aged are they? We'll start with Mary. How aged are they? John Sim, Mary.
49.
49?
Yes.
Robert.
I say 51.
Kirby.
52.
And Adam.
46.
46. And that's the end of round 2. Round 3 is Peter Serafinovich. That's Peter Serafinovich. He was the voice of the Fisher King in Under the Lake and Before the Flood. He was also the star of the Peter Serafinovich show. He was born also on the 10th of July. But how aged are they? Kirby.
I don't have slight...
Oh, hold on. That's...
Sorry, I'm just supposed to say that, am I?
It's a bit late for that, Kirby. Whoa! 100 million points added to That's those one. So
brilliant.
Really doesn't matter what you say, but go for a number anyway.
51.
Okay, we'll go to Adam.
61.
We'll now have Mary.
42.
We're all over the place.
Robert.
54.
They're all numbers, they're all good guesses, and we'll come back after this short break and let you know who scored what points on the second part of How Aged Are They? See you in a minute. I'll see you shortly. Thank you very much. Bye!
Oh, Kirby.
I haven't got a theme tune for this next section of the show, which is called Adam, Debbie and Isabella Travel to London Film and Comic Con, because I'm just going to tell you about it, because I'm sure you really want to hear it, don't you, Mary?
Adam, Debbie and Isabella all went to London. They went to the Big Smoke, and they didn't smoke because they don't smoke, but they went to a convention where they met some people who've been on TV, and those people now are going to be told to you and me.
Well, that's not
It was so cool.
Thanks, man.
It wasn't too bad. The air conditioning does work quite well in Olympia, bearing in mind the sun was shining through the roof.
Isabella's little being featured
Oh,
on...
yeah, I haven't got... can I not just tell you about the blimmin' day instead of you jumping through to bits in the middle of it? Oh, God's sake. Okay, right, so what happened then? So, got Thursday off, got Friday off, so that meant we could travel up on the Thursday, get into the hotel. Trouble is, the idea was we'd go up early, park up in Sunbury and then go into London and see a few of the sites, but Isabella wasn't up for that.
Oh,
So-
Isabella.
Yeah, so what we actually did was park up and then go to the cinema to watch Thor, Love and Thunder, which actually was like 10:30 a.m. So we basically got in, sat down, the film started, which I do like that scenario, going to the cinema. I'm not having to sit through all the trailers and the adverts.
You know, you don't have to sit through the trailers. It is a personal choice, because if you turn up 20 minutes into the
Yes, I know, and I like that. I like that scenario. So that's what we did. We sat down, popcorn, etc., etc. Deb had a little combo because it was a birthday, and if it's your birthday with Cineworld Unlimited, you get a combo. That's drink and popcorn or whatever. Thoroughly enjoyed that film. That's a heads up for later on. Thoroughly enjoyed Thor: Love and Thunder. Brilliant film. And then we got out, and it was still. We had to check in at 3:00.
Was it still light?
It was still light. Yeah. No, we had to check in at 3:00 when it was only 12:30, and we thought, well, what are we going to do now? Deb said, "Oh, I want to watch that Elvis film." Isabella said, "I don't want to watch that Elvis film." But we went in and watched the Elvis film.
Did she get all
anyway.
shook up?
No. But anyway, we did watch the Elvis film, which went on a bit. But what?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hold on a minute.
What? What's that?
Sorry, people were just reacting to my gag.
So we had to watch it. It's quite a good film. It's very sort of darkish and compared with the other Elvis biographies, but quite enjoyable nevertheless. And then we got to the hotel.
Good?
What?
Tom Hanks good?
He's excellent. He's always good, isn't he? So we got to the hotel and settled in and went downstairs, had a delicious meal in their little hotel before settling down for an exciting potential day going to the Common. So anyway, drove into Olympia. I'd prepaid for the parking. That's 30 quid prepaid parking. It was a nightmare getting there. It took about an hour and 10 minutes to get 10 miles before we actually got to Olympia. But the good thing about it was we basically went into the queue and went into the building. So we weren't waiting outside for God knows how long in the heat. And we were actually let into the event bang on time at 10 a.m. Went upstairs. There was a large area where all the main stars were, and we made a beeline for Christopher Lloyd's table. Bearing in mind none of these guests were actually there at the start of the event, but went to his table and got a little ticket which said 129. And went away. They said, come back 2 hours later. Well, I will tell you, we went back 2 hours later 4 times. And
So you went back 8 hours later?
4 times. No, each time we went back, they said, come back in 2 hours. But anyway. So then it was a case of...
Did you have to go back to the future?
No. So, the first job was to get a picture with Tim Russ. So, queued up, and I was actually at the front of the queue, which was very frustrating, for the Tim Russ photo shoot. 20 minutes later, we got an announcer saying he wasn't supposed to be there on the Friday, so we had to move on rather frustratedly. To the next photo shoot, which was, I believe, Christopher Lloyd. Now, that ran a bit late, and we hadn't seen him yet, and we were starting to get a bit worried that he wasn't going to show up either. But imagine our excitement when we went into this little room, and there was Christopher Lloyd. Guess what I said to Christopher Lloyd just before I had the picture with him?
I fucking hate you.
Pardon? I said, Great Scott.
Great Scott.
That's exact. He loved that. He went, Great Scott, right back at me. And then Deb and
you know
Isabella.
What? I bet you're the first.
I am the first person ever to have done that. He was thrilled to bits.
You should have said, "Where's Einstein?" I bet that.
No, nobody ever says that to him. So
Still
I
hearing
was the
it
first
live
ever.
right in front of you is supposed to be cool.
What?
No, I'm saying hear somebody saying that.
No, I said nobody was saying anything to him. They were just going up, standing next to him, moving on, and I sort of stepped up and said, "Great Scott!" And he just really sort of mouthed, "Great Scott!" And that's what the smiles in the picture are due to me going.
Yes, it is cool.
Yeah. Had to be done. I think it's half expected for that to be done. I'm not necessarily getting this in the right order, I'm afraid, but we were quite keen to meet Robert Englund, or England, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And he was really good fun because he got his he had this glove, his Freddy glove, which he was doing all sorts of funny poses with people. Absolutely brilliant.
Your face in the
picture.
Yeah,
I know.
It
had to be done because he's doing his menacing look. I don't know how he knew I was doing that face. For the picture. For Isabella's one, I think he just wrapped his hand around Isabella just to do a standard Isabella face. Somewhere in the gap, I went to see Jessica, who was hidden away around the other side of the, where all the artists were, and had a chat with her.
You hadn't met her before?
I haven't met her face to face, but obviously I met her via the podcast.
And you were doing secret negotiations with her.
That was later on in the day.
Of course.
Because Deb sort of met her and said, "Oh, she's really nice. Why haven't you invited her?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really allowed to invite people, am I?" Anyway, so I went back and sort of said why I wasn't invited. I basically told her about all sorts of behind-the-scenes things, but told her we would love to invite you because you're lovely. And then she came up with a a sort of deal. Well, that's all I'm going to say on that matter. So there was also a chap there who was absolutely fab, Donald Fullylove, great name, who played Goldie Wilson in the Back to the Future films, and apparently he was allowed to. He was going because people were going past going to him, and he was quite happy to do that and played along with it quite a lot. But if you wanted to do like a video or a recording of it, he wasn't allowed. But apparently there was some legal thing about some people using that in a bad way on social media. But I thought it'd be really good fun to do a video with him, or do a TikTok with him. I proposed the idea to him, which he thought was fab. So now I can say I directed a Hollywood actor in a little film. Yes. So that was really fab. I haven't actually got that film to hand at the moment. I might play it later on. It's an audio. It's really about the audio, not about the video part of that anyway. So that was good fun. Deb and that, because David Harbour turned up and Isabella was melting with glee because we bought her a diamond pass, which is £200. So guaranteed autograph, guaranteed photograph. And so she had a pop to sign, and just so happened she was about 6 in the queue to meet him. And the videographer went up to her straight after, "Oh, you're a big fan, aren't you? Can I do a little piece with you?" So she agreed. They did the video, and then within hours we were still there, and it was on their page. Of course, Deb was absolutely over the moon. And then a little bit later on, hang on, the dog wants to come in. I'd earlier on bought each of us a photo op. So obviously Isabella had her own one in the studio with David Harbour, and me. I had the hopper by the van. Sorry, by the van picture, and Deb had a studio picture. But Isabella said, "I'd like to have that one by the van." So we swapped. So she got the picture by the van, which enabled me to secretly film, because they weren't allowing any photos, to secretly film. And I said to them, so if anybody come up to me and complained about me doing this secret film, I said, well, my daughter meeting her hero, gonna try, you know. So I tried, got it, and I was really happy. That was the bit she was most thrilled about, because she was able to send that video immediately around all her friend group. Of course, I've been a big fan of the Monkees for a long, long time, especially on Saturday morning television, and to meet Mickey Dolenz was a big thrill, even if it was for 5 seconds. I did tell him my favourite song was For Pete's Sake. Marina Sirtis, she sort of turned up a bit late for her photo shoot, and then sat down spending 10 minutes putting lippy and some makeup on before starting the shoot. So I did say that she looked beautiful, and she said, "Thanks, sweetheart." I think it's the words that. Of course, Kirby advised me to meet Eric Roberts, so I actually bought that photo on the back of what Kirby said, and yes, he was absolutely superb. He had a different pose, very imaginative, a different pose with every single person in those photos. Excellent. It was such good fun. Of course, where are we?
Did you talk Doctor Who with him?
Boring people to tears there. Sorry?
Did you talk Doctor Who with him?
No, it's just in the line to have your picture taken. We had a picture taken in one of the set-up Stranger Things sets as well, which was good fun. I haven't published that pic. And of course, I was quite thrilled to meet David Harbour, because he actually comes across as a very nice chap. I think if I was earning about 80 quid per autograph and photograph, I would be quite nice as well. But
exactly.
As I said, we kept on going back to the Christopher Lloyd autograph queue, and as I've said in the past, I'm not a big fan of autographs, but I thought, I've got this Funko Pop of the Dock and the Clock Tower, which is inaccurate because the Clock Tower in the set has got all the wording on it, which wasn't there when he was in the 1950s. The wording was put on later on, but anyway, it's there. And so we had it. We were carrying around it all day, and as I say, they kept on sending us away. And it got to about 5:15 when the rescheduled Tim Russ shoot was about to start. So I sent the girls to queue, and they were only allowing tickets 1:20 to 1:30 to go and actually meet Christopher and get this thing signed, and he wasn't allowed to speak to anyone. Anyway, so he gets the pop, he signs his name in this very cryptic writing, so no wonder he doesn't do any dedications, because obviously he's writing it really beautifully. And Deb said, "Oh, thank you so much," and he looked up, "Oh, thank you." So she did get that interaction with him. I didn't, because I was in with Tim Russ again. Quite a nice chap. Yeah, I was obviously planned to do the impression of Spock like Sheldon would have done in that particular picture.
Yeah.
So of course we did a little video with Jessica for the TikTok, and the Donald video was also really good fun. So apart from that, there's some fab things on sale. I think Isabella spent a fortune of her own money, because she works with me at M&S now, on various Stranger Things gubs. Deb very kindly bought me a Stranger Things figure of Eddie, which was £65, an exclusive Funko Pop. I can't believe she spent £65 on me on a Funko Pop. I did say I wanted one. I was quite surprised and rather delighted. Oh, good grief. It's exclusive.
2 weeks
Eddie
ago, I
Funko.
wouldn't have been able to tell you who Eddie was.
Not yet, you
I know
won't.
now.
Oh, you know now. You got up to
2
series
months
4
time,
of it.
I won't be able to tell you who Eddie is. I think you were talking about the bloke at a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
We got up to series 4 then, have you then, Kirby? So we difference between that and Wales Comic Con, they're quite better organised with the photo ops. There were some areas where there was a bit of disorganisation, but the photo ops really went through really quick, which allowed us time to sit down, have something to eat, just walk around, have a look at all the stalls, everything. There's bits we missed. They closed the Star Trek photo set really quick, so I missed that one. And some of the green screen things were closed a bit too early. I think they should perhaps have it open all day, because it's really difficult getting around everywhere, because it is a very large event.
Exactly, yeah.
But, having gone to it with trepidation and worrying about whether people wouldn't be there or whatever, we actually came away actually having the time of our lives, and especially seeing Isabella so happy to finally meet somebody from Stranger Things who was a big star. She had met Alec Utgoff a few years ago, and Sean Astin a couple of years ago as well. So, but to meet David Harbour, which is obviously he's been in all of the series, is a really big thing for her. She would obviously have liked to have met Joseph Quinn, but he wasn't there that day. And of course, I met Ken Deep. I knew he was going, so he said he was in London. I just said to him, "Oh, you not happened to go to London Film and Comic Con?" Oh, yes, I am actually. So during one of the dips, we sort of eventually gravitated towards each other and had a bit of a chat. And I did record something which you can hear now. Or not. Hang on. This is Facebook, so let's try that again. Come on. Right, here we go.
Evidence.
Just bumped into this chap who's appearing on stage live. Was it Ken D? Not really, are you?
No, I'm not on stage. Unless it's on a stagecoach home.
What are you doing here anyway? A long way out.
Yeah, well, it's the first time since the pandemic that I'm able to travel back over to the UK. And so start with LFCC, Utopia next weekend.
You're getting about it, man.
Yeah, and I'm doing the Blake 7 one on Sunday, too.
Wow.
So, yeah, getting my nerd on.
Have you met anybody yet?
No, not yet.
No.
I mean,
planning to?
People that I didn't know. I saw Sylvester and chatted with him a little bit.
Name dropping?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, mate. So that was Ken Deep, podcasting royalty. Nice to meet him. He did say that I think Lewis Trapani is still doing bits and bobs here and there. But yeah, without him and a few other people, we wouldn't have a podcast.
Right.
So,
Cool.
so of course, we sort of drove home. M3 was an absolute nightmare. Drove past the exit to Farnborough and sort of did a wave to Ben as we went past.
I saw you.
Did you? I thought you might have.
Yeah, I was standing on the motorway bridge in between junctions 4A and 4.
As one does, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, you'd have been going past it as 4 to 4A. And, I saw your little car drive past. I gave
Thank you
a
very
wave.
much. I didn't see you, but never mind. But yes, we loved it so much. We booked tickets for the winter event in November, which was for the whole weekend, and we put the hotel.
And who will you see
then?
then?
And stuff. What?
Who are the guests going to be?
They haven't announced anybody apart from the people that couldn't attend. Well, that Clark bloke that was in the Marvel films. Clark played Coulson in the Marvel films. He's going to be there. And a couple of the most frustrating thing was Jerry Ryan was not supposed to be there on the Friday. She wasn't put in any of the literature to be there on the Friday, and she was there. And people right at the, did you see Jerry Wine sat at her table? No, I would have liked to have done. So that was really frustrating, the fact that she was actually there and didn't get a chance to meet her. So yes, that was great. Now I can move back to Ben Chevalier with the scores.
Hold on, before I do that, did you hear that?
Yes.
Yes.
So that now works. That's so weird.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, we were here. Welcome back to How Aged Are They? Thank you very much. Sorry about the long delay there. Adam wouldn't shut up. About something he did. Anyway, round 7, 57-12. Let's have a look at the scores. Let's have a look at round 1. Round 1's actor was David Mitchell. David Mitchell was born on the 14th of July, 1974. Robert said he was 52, so gets 4 points. Kirby said he was 51, so gets 3 points. Mary said he was 50, so gets 2 points. And Adam said he was 47, so just gets 1 point.
Oh, that's not bad. I'll go with that.
Not bad at all.
It doesn't matter how many points I get.
Kirby,
Oh, here we go.
Kirby, your fine will be doubled if you say anything else. Round 2 was John Sim. He was born on the 10th of July, 1970, making him 52 years old. Who have we got here? Well, Adam said he was 46, so Adam gets 6 points. Mary said he was 49, so Mary gets 3 points. Robert, yes, he did, said he was 51, so gets 1 point. But Kirby said he was 50 years old, which means it's an exact answer.
We should have those points taken away for being grumpy today.
I've got a good feeling for you this week, Kirby. On to round 3. Peter Serafinovich was the actor. He played the voice of the Fisher King in Under the Lake and Before the Flood. He was born on the 10th of July, 1972, which makes him 50 years old. Adam said he was 61. That's 11 points, Adam. We've got Mary, who said he was 42. That's 8 points, Mary. Robert said he was 54. That's 4 points, Robert. And Kirby said he was 51. So that's 100 million and 1 point for Kirby. Which means this week, in 4th place with 100 million and 4 points is Kirby. In 3rd place with 18 points is Adam. It's down to the big 2. Is it Mary? Is it Robert? 2nd place with plus 13 points is Mary, which means this week's winner with 9 points is Robert. Well done, Robert. Listen to the audience go mad for you, so listen.
It's on my first one.
It's your first ever win. It's been marked down. That means you get the bonus of bonuses for winning. That's your lot for this week's How Aged Are They? Thanks for listening, watching, and don't forget to tune into the Indie Rock Disco, www.theindyrockdisco.com, for the best indie and rock music ever made 24 hours a day, advert and commercial free. We'll see you next week for another edition of How Aged Are They? Till then, ta-ta and that.
All right, thank you, Ben. Right then.
Ben,
hold on. Oh, yeah, Bob Kirby, you go first, but then I've got an announcement.
Could you please post that link someplace?
Which link's that?
For the music thing that you just said too fast.
The music thing I sent to what?
Disco, indie disco.
The disco, whatever it is.
Oh, the radio station. No, one listens anyway, Kirby, don't worry.
Well, I had a link.
Well, the link is on
don't listen to the podcast, you've got a link for that.
If you go to my personal Facebook page, then it's on there. You'll see that. But hey, look, I've got an announcement to make, and this is rather exciting.
Ooh. You're pregnant?
No. I have got a new job.
Is it media related?
Well, it's kind of. It's like a lot more closer to like where I want to be than where I was, which was doing painting and decorating with my best friend. And we've been doing that for like 5 years. But Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago, I saw a little advert saying a company wanted an audiovisualer. I've even got the job wrong. An audiovisual installer engineer. And after having COVID and the other bloke having COVID as well, who was giving the job out, I went for an interview on Friday, and I was driving home, and after I'd driven around 3 corners, I got a phone call to tell me I'd got the job. So,
Wow.
Excellent.
You know, I don't know what the opposite of every cloud has a silver lining is, but this really is it, right? Because as I mentioned, at the moment, I work with my mate. He's my best mate, and he's been my best mate for years, and it's his company. And last week we started what was going to be a 6-week job, which now I've got to walk off in 4 weeks' time.
Oh dear.
Two of those weeks I'm on holiday. One of those weeks he's on holiday, which means actually.
Gosh.
So I'm going to really be dumping my best mate right in the.
Yeah.
So wish me luck.
Good luck.
I'm going to have to, because he's literally just texted me and said give me a call, but he can't have heard because the only people who know are my wife and my family
and all the listeners to this show.
Well, yes, that's it. But by the time it gets out, he'll know. So
what about the live feed?
He doesn't know how to work YouTube. He doesn't care for Doctor Who anyway, so you've got less chance of him listening to this than he does listen to my radio station, mate. But anyway, yeah, so well done me. Congratulations.
Well done indeed, yes.
So I'm going to be... Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worthwhile. Yeah. I accept that. I think that's just about where it should have been. Thank you very much.
You're going to end up working on Sundays, and you won't be able to record with us.
No, it's only Monday to Friday, but I'm going to be...
Oh, that was very hopeful of you there, Kirby, wasn't it?
I'm going to be driving around the country installing massive TV screens into events, and
we might need one of them at FantasyCon, you never know.
Exactly.
But obviously we haven't got any money to pay for it, so that probably won't happen.
I'll do you no discount whatsoever.
Lillian Robbins says, I like your Star Trek uniform in the pictures. I have 2 original series uniforms, red and blue. And then she says, explain the grandfather clock picture. Well, if you watch Stranger Things, Series 4, the spookiest element almost of the whole of Series 4. So that will explain that one. You have to watch it. I forgot what I was going to say now. There isn't really any Doctor Who news unless Ben has some.
Yes, I saw that. Could someone say the name of the new Doctor for me? Because I don't even know who it is.
Ncuti Gatwa.
Right.
Yes.
Him. Has apparently okayed the Doctor having wellies, as in Wellington boots in the Doctor's outfit.
Doctor did too, in South Kroll.
That's very true. I'm hoping as well, though, that if that is the case and the Doctor has Wellingtons, that they are red, and they also give him a lovely big blue duffel coat.
I reckon that Ncuti could rock the red boots and the duffel coat. Actually, I think it's probably one of the rare people that actually would look quite good in it. I'm quite hoping that they have him without any hair, because that would be finally a Doctor that hasn't got any hair. That would be a first.
I'm hoping that he'll be ginger.
I could cosplay the Doctor. Obviously, I'd have to slim down, or maybe get a T-shirt that makes me look slim. I don't know.
I'm not sure that would be the biggest issue, to try and make you look like the new Doctor, Adam.
Vertical stripes, Adam.
Vertical stripes.
They will make you look slimmer.
Okay, if you say so.
No, mate. Not eating food makes you look slimmer. not having burgers every day at work. That makes you slimmer.
Anyway, so that's all still exciting as we gradually creep closer and closer to the anniversary special. But at the moment, we're enjoying a bit of a summer for a change here in Great Britain. Right then, so the next bit of the show is what we watched this week, which is Mary's favourite bit. I even suggested to Isabella we did this at the beginning of the show in future so we could get her involved. She's a particular fan of TV and film, and she's doing an A-level on film. But there you go. Right then, so what I watched...
Adam?
Week. Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
What did you watch in the last fortnight?
Oh, God. Well, I've already alluded to watching Thor: Love and Thunder and Elvis. Very good. Both of them, very good. What I've also watched, I can't remember if we finished Obi-Wan Kenobi last time we spoke, but if we hadn't, I have. It's very good.
Spoilers, no, I still haven't seen the last episode.
Okay, stuff
excellent.
happens. Also continuing watching Orville on Disney Plus. It's there's still a lot of comedy and appropriately placed comedy in Orville, but it is very much a serious science fiction TV program based on Star Trek Next Generation, and it is absolutely superb. And they've never been able to dip. And talk about Doctor Who and its dipping storylines here and there. And I'm thinking also that Orville is based on a Star Trek style universe. You know, they've managed to regularly churn out excellent stories all the way through that, and so it can be done with the right writers. Also, I've sort of carried on watching a little bit of Strange New Worlds. Still enjoying that one. Haven't got very far with it because there was lots on TV.
How far have you gotten?
Episode 3. There's also we've got the women's European Championship, which I've been enjoying.
Yourself a Doctor Who fan. I mean, a Star Trek fan.
You spoke over each other beautifully there, so I didn't understand a word you both said.
Robert.
What?
You say whatever you were saying.
I was just going to say, you call yourself a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, but I'm also a football fan and absolutely loving the European Championships. And I have to say how brilliant the England football team is. A little bit too brilliant, actually, at the moment because they're just trouncing everyone. But I've really enjoyed watching the women's football for
Kirby's just fallen asleep.
I don't care.
Yes, I have. What I was going to say was wait until you get to episode 5. It's brilliant.
Okay. Also, I've been watching the Open as much as I can. I haven't been watching much of it live, so I've been picking up the highlights on BBC Two. It's been brilliant. What gets me about the St Andrews Golf Course is how big the fairways are and how massive the greens are. But for some reason, it creates absolutely superb golf, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's probably all the tournaments I've watched over the last 2 months, but the Open has been really, really good this year, and some Australian bloke with a mullet won it. Is that a spoiler? Okay.
Jason Donovan from the...
Yes, Jason Donovan won it. Yeah.
Jason Donovan from the 80s won the Open.
But that finished before we started recording, so hopefully people already know that. So that's what else have we been watching? Stranger Things, obviously we finished watching that. The sort of last 2 mega episodes came out at the beginning of the month.
Weren't they?
They were mega episodes, but megally superb. And Umbrella Academy, it just, for me, it never dips again. It's one of those series that keeps on getting better and better. What?
Did you finish it off?
What?
Umbrella Academy.
No, I think episode 9 we just watched. I don't want to sort of just.
It's a bit
spoil
weird
everything.
this season, wasn't it?
It's weird but brilliant. But last series was weird. The first series was weird. It's just an ensemble of an ensemble cast that worked so well.
They're very funny. Do you remember the first episode, the dance off?
I know everything. I watched a bit of the first episode.
Hilarious.
It was. Oh, you mean of this series? Everything was brilliant.
Do you remember?
Everything is brilliant. But if you look at the film and everything for series 1, completely different style. It's much brighter, but still superb. Flora's Lava went through the whole of Flora's Lava, and
There's
what
only
got me
5 episodes though.
I know, it's a shame, isn't it? But the
There's
thing
gotta
about
be more coming.
I alluded to last time that the main qualification to get on Flora's Lava is to be a twat. But what got me,
I haven't watched it yet.
It's so entertaining. And also the flies everywhere, because obviously I had to film it outside in some hot place. But episode 5 was the one with almost like the celebrities they had in it. So they had some Too Hot to Handle guys on it from series 1 of Too Hot to Handle, who on the series of Too Hot to Handle came across as being twats. On Flora's Lava, they just seemed like normal blokes. So just to show how much of a twat you have to be to get on the programme. So. Yes, I was going to be derogatory then, but I'm not going to go down that road. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You've just called everyone who's appeared on a TV programme a twat, and you're saying you're not going to be derogatory. That's like Kirby saying he's not going to be pedantry. And then
I alluded to derogatoriness, but not going to say it. What else have we watched? Bits I've dabbled here and there with Love Island when Deb's been watching it. I haven't been in the room at the same time, but I'm really proud of myself. Really proud of myself for not watching it religiously like I have done in previous years. Just dabbled here and there. And of course,
that's like Amy going in the first episode going, I dabble.
It's
more like
murders
Axl Rose going, I used to do a little, but a little wasn't doing, so a little got more and more. And
There's a
then
few
he
bits and
started
bobs
getting
on watch.
right into the series.
Like the
Seriously,
Rolling
I'm
Stones
embarrassed.
programme. I want to watch that. It's on the iPlayer at the moment.
Mr. Brownstone.
What?
Very good. Very good, sir.
So yeah, I've probably missed a few bits and bobs. So obviously those are things I remember watching.
Because you're too busy watching
time to
the
watch
numbers.
these things.
What?
I don't have time to watch all this stuff.
Well, that's why it's most of it's streamed. You can watch it whenever you like. So I'm interested to find out how Kirby's getting on with Stranger Things. But first of all, Mr. Benjamin Shuffler.
Right. Well, my usual amount of sport. Formula One, that was very good last weekend. A bit of the Euros, although it's not really that. It's not proper football. And hold on a minute. Who was it? It was Lord Alan Sugar made a comment about how there was lots of women on men's football, but not so many men on women's football. He got absolutely slaughtered for it. And do you know what the really annoying thing is? He was right. I've been watching some old Top of the Pops from
bloody
99.
managers are men. That's wrong.
Oh no, the cricket. Hold on, sorry, God. Lots of England cricket. There was the test match, the test match, I think, since we haven't been on. There's been lots of one days. And best thing of all was the T20 finals day for 2022 yesterday, which was won by my county, Hampshire, in the most farcical scenes you've ever seen at the end of the match. But it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We've been watching a program called Beastmaster UK, which is on Netflix, which is a program where you get loads of people from around the world doing like an assault course type thing, but it's all like to do with strength and upper body and lifting yourself over things and holding yourself up. And yeah, it's something to put on in the background when there's nothing else to watch. We'll be watching a fair bit of the news because just in the politics in this country, Boris Johnson. Well, it is, yeah. Boris has been basically ousted, and it is only right. And I'm annoyed with Boris. I'm not a Conservative, and I'm not a Labour fan. I have a view on politics, and that is that I'm annoyed with Boris because he could have been a really good Prime Minister because he had such a must-do, can-do attitude. Unfortunately, that became to a point where his must-do, can-do attitude came to a...
Yeah, I think he felt he was a little bit above everything.
Well, no, it was yeah, possibly, but it was the case that he did anything to get it done, and you can't do that. No. And he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and he lied, and it was always the case that his lying was going to catch up with him. He lied when he was...
he was lying when he was lying, didn't he?
he basically didn't know when he was lying anymore, and he just got himself up in so many little tangles of lies, and unfortunately for him, he had to go, whether it's good for the country or not. Well, we'll find out who the new PM is and if how...
Yeah, but it took a really big hint for him to quit, though, didn't it?
It basically took the whole of the rest of the cabinet
hang on, didn't he?
And
he had a bit of stamina in the hanging on side of things.
Oh, but I mean, he was never going to be able to hang on. It was always bad news for him. I say, not a Conservative fan, not a Labour fan. I liked Boris because I thought he had charisma, and not a lot of politicians do. Unfortunately, he had too much charisma, and he just couldn't stop lying. And finally, I've been watching a very interesting Facebook thread.
Before you go too far, wait! Before you go too far, who do you think will likely replace him?
Rishi.
It'll more than likely be Rishi Sunak, unless I can't even tell.
But it won't take long for them to dig a few. Find a few moths in his handbag, purse, or whatever you want to call it.
I mean, you might well get a. There's a couple of the ladies, one called Penny something or other. She's seems to be getting a lot of support from the backbenchers. So you could get a complete outsider. That would be weird because is that really the right thing to do? Promote someone with absolutely no experience to Prime Minister? Not sure. Anyway. And yes, I've been watching.
So is it his party that decides? The
party decides.
Into that?
Yeah,
it's the
whoever's leader of that party who becomes the Prime Minister if that party are in power,
and that gets chosen by
as well.
Yeah, by the party members, basically by the by the party members, not necessarily the MPs. It's by
I think it is the MPs.
Is it? I thought it was a party member. The whole. If you're a member of the Conservative Party, you get to vote on who the leader's going to be.
It's the backbenchers committee called the 1922 committee, who I think are the ones that run I'm way out my depth. Anyway.
And does the Queen have to agree to that?
No,
or
the Queen just will just have to anoint them as they have to go and visit the Queen and say, I want to create a government in your name, and the Queen has to say yes, I suppose so.
Okay.
but the main thing is, at least she never had to say, okay, thank you, Mr. Corbyn. And finally, for the third time, I've been watching a very interesting Facebook thread, which has been talking about how there's an issue whether you call Doctor Who series or seasons. And it came to a bit of a head over the last 12 hours. And, I've just got to say to everybody who still insists that Doctor Who has ever been made in seasons, you are wrong. It has always been made in series. If you look on the BBC Doctor Who official website, it was always listed series. It's not seasons is an Americanism. It was never in media at all in this country in the 80s and 90s. It may have been mentioned once or twice.
Can I correct you there, Ben?
May have been mentioned once or twice. But
JNT, when promoting a new series, he would say season on occasion.
Depends.
Probably because he's been
God.
so many times.
Well, I'd also suggest that might be depending on where he was. If he was doing it around England, that I'd be surprised. That may well be the case.
He was saying it in the UK chat shows.
But, if he was thinking it was for a worldwide audience, then obviously America has always. When I was younger, Dallas was always in seasons.
Right. Can I just say,
Dynasty
if I go and find on iTunes, sorry Ben, if I go and find on iTunes the episode we just watched, which was Victory of the Daleks, it comes under Series 5. So series.
But the thing is, that's also incorrect because it's not Series 5; it's Series 20, 31.
That's another possibility to be true.
The standard way of distinguishing is what I use.
But that's American.
No.
Series in season is an American thing. It's not a British thing.
That was established by the BBC when the new series came out.
But we never sat there on a Monday night or a Saturday night as they said, and here's the new season of Doctor Who. They never said that, the continuity announcers. It was always, here's the new series, or the new series of Doctor Who continues. Never new season. Season is what Friends had. Season is what Dynasty did. Season is what Dallas had.
All right, let's put drive the bus over that one, please.
Hang on. It's also to do with the length of the program, I think, because a lot of the soap operas, a lot of your what was that one with Sheldon in it and that Big Bang Theory, they were all seasons because they went on generally for 26 weeks, which was 2 seasons. In England, we've never had shows that go on. Apart from Holby City and maybe Casualty, but that's something that's happened more recently. We never had things that were called seasons. They were always series. It was a TV series. It wasn't a season of a series. Never been
if something like the Radio Times refers to it as a season, will you accept that?
Well, when does it do that?
Oh no, I don't want to go. Keep this conversation going.
I did a random search for Doctor Who, and I picked a year, 1985, brought up a Radio Times thing on the 2 Doctors that says season 22.
That's probably an American cover you found there, Kirby.
No.
I tell you what, my dog is currently doing exactly the most appropriate noise I can tell you. She's snoring the loudest she's ever done. She's actually given me a run for my money, and apparently I've got a very loud snore, according to that.
Anyway, that's all I've been watching.
Hooray!
Can I say something about the season series thing?
Only if you agree with me.
No.
Oh, God. Right. Before we move on, Robert, I'll let you speak in a minute, Robert, but stuff coming through on the live feed that's quite appropriate. Lily Roman says, well, I haven't seen Stranger Things. Sorry. Well, get on and watch it. And Terry Miles says, help somebody stop them. There we go. So thank you, Terry.
What? It's a very important point. It needs to be absolutely correct, and we need to, because otherwise,
I am correct.
Well, it's nice to know that you're correct, that you're incorrect, Kirby. It's one of those things.
You've even worked the dog up now. God's sake. Anyway, enough of that.
How scary is your... I've seen a picture of your dog. It really doesn't deserve that as a theme tune.
She's hasn't got any bottom jaws, so her tongue hangs out all the time. All right then, so where do we go?
So maybe we need the
we're
theme
trying to
tune
do something
from,
about Doctor. Oh yes, it was supposed to be what Kirby watched this week, wasn't it? Or are you still carrying on with your?
Oh no, we've come to an agreement. Kirby knows I'm right, really.
Okay, well we'll settle for that and move on. Shut up, Kirby. Right then, what have you watched this week?
Where did I leave off with Stranger Things when we last spoke?
I don't know.
Series 2. You were on Series 2.
No, I don't think I had made it even to Series 2 by then.
No, I think you were on number 1.
And here it's
you were in. I don't remember you saying anything more than halfway through the second instalment of Stranger Things.
Anyway, last night I finished Season 3, Episode 5.
So what? I don't get what you're saying there. I don't know what you said. What you said
the episode, the third instalment of Stranger Things, Episode 5. That's basically what it is.
The third season. That's August. I meant autumn, not August. Autumn. That would have been so much better.
Depending what part of the year you're at. Is that it then, Kirby? Well, that's not a lot.
Huh?
Is that what you've been watching this week then?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Stranger Things, but that's not all I've been watching. I mean, normally I say what? I haven't watched anything, or I watched this one little thing.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, I watched Doctor Who.
Oh, Young Sheldon. Sorry, I forgot to mention. We finished watching Series 5 of Young Sheldon.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to watch Young Sheldon this week because I had technical difficulties communicating with the geek daughter.
Okay.
So I watched the last episode of Strange New Worlds, which was great.
Yeah.
A whole new world.
And so after I watched the last episode of Strange New Worlds, I went back and watched the original series episode, Errand of Mercy. It's not Errand of Mercy.
No,
episode Errand of Mercy.
No, I think it was Errand of Mercy.
Okay.
Somebody on YouTube has done a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. It was fantastic. No spoilers.
Well, don't say it then, because I haven't seen them. I can't probably shut my ears up. I'm sitting here.
I watched the last episode, and then I watched that original series episode. There was a reason I did that, and you will find out.
Well, shut up then. We'll find out.
Evident when you see it.
Sake.
And something else I watched, I was watching some YouTube video the other day, which was talking about some of the greatest rock concerts ever, of which I've seen some of them, of course, Woodstock.
Was it a granite one or a limestone one?
And I was thinking about the best...
No, that's the Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking about the best rock concert I ever attended live.
Yeah.
Muse at the Isle of Wight Festival.
What is it?
The only rock concert I have ever attended live, so I ordered the DVD of it and watched that. It's Steel Wheels.
Oh, that's interesting, because I was just about to say the two greatest rock performances I've seen are the Rolling Stones in the Urban Jungle Tour at Wembley Stadium in 1989, and Muse at the Isle of Wight Festival a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you've had the Foo Fighters at Glastonbury.
I did enjoy the Foo Fighters.
Best gig ever.
They were at the Isle of Wight Festival about 8 years ago, and they were fab.
Yeah, they were very good there.
Master, the Urban Jungle Tour was called that on the European leg. It's the same concert that I saw.
Yes.
Yeah, Steel Wheels is the music for Steel Wheels album. And I saw it in Wisconsin, and it was fantastic. Just absolutely. It took us 3 hours to get out of the parking lot. Got home at 5 in the morning. And that's not all I was watching. Watched the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This time
only the first 2?
Well, yeah. When I couldn't watch Young Sheldon with Geek Daughter, we had to switch to something that we could watch together. So we went over Disney Plus, and that's all we had time for the other night. So the first 2 parts, and unfortunately, I'm not allowed to watch further until the next time that we can get our things together to do that. And started watching yesterday this thing called Doctor Who some bloke named Tom Baker in his first appearance.
Oh yeah, because you got the Blu-ray set.
Because I got the Blu-ray and started watching Robot, and it
cool.
Must be a knockoff.
It looks great, even though obviously it wasn't done in high definition. It's much better in my DVD.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
And the extras are just marvelous.
Oh yeah, it's hard going the one that's got no sound. You see that one, the read through?
Oh yeah, that was weird. It's
because they lost the sound for it, so. But at least you can watch that.
So they pulled in the sound from the actual episode.
Yes. When they come to the relevant parts, yeah.
Is that it then, Kirby?
Yes.
Right. No, talking about briefly, you were talking about best concerts and stuff. The best concert, it's not a rock concert, but the best concert I ever went to.
What's that noise?
Sounds like it's white noise.
It's my fan.
Yes, and then you went very loud. The best concert I ever went to, and one we watched the most from that tour, we've got it on Blu-ray somewhere, is Take That at Sunderland when Robbie rejoined the band, and that was Pet Shop Boys were the lead-in support act, and then Take That with Robbie doing his own set, and then Take That set and all the music. Oh God, it was the best concert I've ever been to. Entertainment, music, sing along. Oh, that was absolutely brilliant.
The Progress tour.
Yeah, I love that. We got the Blu-ray. Like I said, it's
that's
just
amazing. That's a really good gig, actually.
Yeah,
that was a really good gig. But
so that's
not as good as the Foo Fighters, though.
Oh no, the Foo Fighters are great. But that for me, that's the one I'd like to be able to go to again, if possible.
And also the first reunion gig of Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine at Brixton Academy in 2007 was an absolute mosh fest. Wow. Just after 10 years they'd got back together, and everyone was 10 years older, and it was just the most manic gig. I couldn't hear for about 3 days afterwards. It was incredible.
Right then, who's next?
I just remembered another concert, fantastic concert.
Oh no.
But I didn't
Julie
pay
Andrews.
for it. Didn't pay for it. It was complete. What?
Julie Andrews, he said. Billy Piper in concert. No?
It's something completely unexpected. Back around 1988, my wife and I went downtown Chicago to a free Grant Park. It was the Grant Park Blues Festival. So we went down hoping to see something. We got up along the fence line, along almost as close to the stage as you get at the Isle of Wight Festival, by the way. And we saw Chuck Berry for free. And then while he was doing fantastic, Keith Richards came out on stage.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
It was... Wow.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah, I remember seeing Kanye West coming on as a special guest for Jay-Z at the Isle of Wight Festival. Wow. I woke up about 5 seconds later. Yeah, sorry. Where did we get up to?
Hold on. While we're talking about great people coming on stage, you can't forget Dave Grohl at Glastonbury with Paul McCartney a couple of weeks ago. That was fantastic.
I didn't see that, actually, to be fair. That would have been quite good. I like Dave Grohl because he's a bloody amazing man. Right then, so, but Robert, have we had you yet?
No.
Is he still there?
She didn't say.
Robert,
wake up, Robert.
Have we had Robert?
I'm awake, yeah.
No, but have you done your bit? I've lost the plot.
I haven't.
Let's go for it then, shall we, Robert? And hope for the best.
Great concerts that I've enjoyed.
Not great concerts. What have you been watching, for goodness sake? Go on then.
The Cure, I love them.
They've got a new album coming out in a couple of months.
Oh, excellent. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Bob Geldof.
Great song, A Big Difference.
Billy Joel, I like seeing him as well.
Billy Piper.
Oh, God, you'd have to pay me to see.
I'd quite happily go and watch Billy Piper in concert. Why? Because we want to.
Oh, no. I'm going to go to sleep with that bloody song in my head now.
Why do you always want to play your song so loud?
I just want to apologise.
Because you like to.
I'd like to apologise to Mary, who must be falling asleep with sort of frustration and knowing that she does want to say something at some point this evening. Carry on.
We finished the Umbrella Academy.
That's good, isn't it? Don't tell me what happened at the end, though.
They all die. I'm afraid to say.
Okay.
Sorry.
They've all died in the episode I just watched.
Well, Klaus is always dying,
shut up.
isn't he?
Shh.
They regenerate into John Barryman.
Oh, yeah. That could be quite true, actually. What else? I can't think. Just the usual kind of stuff that's been on. Really, I can't even think of anything exciting. That's the only thing I remember that. And before that was Stranger Things and Obi-Wan. I've been watching the Disney Gallery things about the making of The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and they're very good. Looking forward to when the Andor series is coming out, which I think that's next month sometime.
Those giant screens that they film in front of,
brilliant.
Fascinating.
I know.
Technology.
I mean, when they do it like they're in the cockpit of their ships flying around, and they've actually got the screen so they can look like they are actually flying around. It's amazing technology.
That's the kind of thing that I'm going to be working with. But
wow, cool.
You'd love to work on something like one of the Star Wars, would you?
Oh, we'll give it a couple of years. You never know. I might get promoted to big screen person.
Yeah.
Because they did Obi-Wan over there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Just round the corner from me in world terms.
Yeah. Behind the scenes stuff is very good. Of course, the Doctor Who's catching up with them. And that's pretty much it. I can't really think of anything besides a few movies.
Much,
a movie.
Hang on, no.
A movie.
The Black Phone.
Oh yes.
That was quite good.
Okay.
If you've seen the trailer for it, sometimes when you watch some of the trailers, you think, oh, that looks good, and you watch it and it's like a big letdown. But that was like watching it, and it's sort of like, oh, that's good. It was pretty much along the lines of the trailer, so that was good. Yeah, enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And that's about it.
Thank you, Robert. Now, I would say one of the when we had a certain amount of viewers until the Boris Johnson and the series season part of the show, when our viewership dropped by 75%. That says something, doesn't it?
You mean 3 of the 4 people?
I'd like anybody who is still watching this feed to say hi on the comments feed, or I'm shutting it down. So, Mary.
Yeah.
Hold on. Come on now. You know better than that, Mary.
Yes, I do.
So tell us what she's watched this week, and what she's listened to in a Mustang, and also what was read in the world of Mary Blitzlang. MPL. And when it comes to Big Finish, she's the leader of the gang. So shut your mouth, pray silence here, Mary Blitzlang.
I've actually read a new one of them incorporating your love of baseball. I just haven't got.
I just want to say, Ben, that Terry and Lillian have saved the video feed.
I really enjoyed just the one that you recorded.
Ah, well, you'll get an update at some point.
If you like it or not.
Yeah, that's what she said.
True to form, I have been watching, a lot of baseball. There'll be a break though this next week because they're having, they have the All-Star Week where they do all these, showcase games and celebrate people. So there's not any real baseball going on.
And the home run derby.
Oh, Mary, sorry, I have to interject, Mary. Yeah. Since we last did, Wimbledon has been and gone. That was rather fab, wasn't it, Ben?
Oh, that was, wasn't it? That was brilliant, yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say on the matter. Nick Kyrgios, star of the whole thing. Eh? Sorry?
Because that stupid Australian got through.
Nick Kyrgios, he was entertaining.
Oh, wasn't he? Yeah, he's like John McEnroe.
He's a bit cocky, but he was entertaining. He's naturally talented. Mary Blitzlang, carry on.
In terms of TV shows, I'm an outlier. I don't watch a lot of what you guys have been watching. I'm in the middle of watching the Sopranos. Golly, there's 6 seasons of those, like 13 episodes each. So it's quite a slog through. I'm still watching Westworld, which is getting weirder and is just as violent. So I'm probably going to taper off on that one. I want to watch that much anymore. But in terms of Big Finish, I've been listening to several Torchwood releases.
John Barrowman in any of them?
No. And even when
does a few.
Then it isn't Torchwood.
They haven't even released the one that he did record.
With Dave Tennant, that one.
Yeah. And listening, and I downloaded a Target book. I'll be reading Creature from the Pit. Actually, I'm into 2 chapters of that. That's
Mary, is
what?
that the David Fisher version or the Terrence Dicks version?
Oh, Fisher.
David Fisher.
Yeah, David Fisher. I'm sorry, David Fisher.
Because the book was originally done by Terrence Dicks, but when they came to do the audio books of them, David Fisher actually wrote a book which they then read out. So now they're releasing his ones as physical books or e-books. So that's what you're ending up with. So,
that's what
I'd like to read them.
Yeah. And I like to try to tie in Big Finish recordings with whatever it is we're watching. So what I'm going to there's 2 volumes called The Churchill Years. Feature Ian McNeice. I haven't listened to either one of them because it doesn't really interest me.
Didn't you listen to it before, Mary, when we did the Stories from Vortex podcast?
No, we never
I'm
listened.
sure we covered that, the first series at least.
The first one came out in 2016, and it's 4 stories, and the second volume came out in 2018, also 4 stories. And right now they're being offered at half price. So anybody who's interested in listening to more of Ian McNeice doing Churchill, that's a real bargain now.
They're quite good too.
And volume 2 also features Neve McIntosh, so as the Silurian. So that's kind of what I've been up to, listening to Big Finish and watching baseball and some seasons.
How good are the Yankees at the moment, though?
The Yankees are doing very well.
Aren't they? There were 13 games out last time I looked.
The most wins, of any team. They're going to go on to the World Series. I'm certain of it.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? They're looking very, very hot.
They don't always, but this year is a hot year. So, yep.
It's been a while. I mean, they are my favourite American hit ball team. So, I've always followed them. I've followed them for about 15 years, actually. So the fact that they've gone up and down, they've been a bit rubbish the last 6-7 years. And so to come back this year, amazing, brilliant. Yay, go Yankees! Apart from your
deficit. They've got so many good players right now. So,
they've traded really well, haven't they? They've done some really good.
Now you're talking like you really know baseball here.
No, I do. I don't take the mickey. I love baseball. I've watched it for years and years. It used to be on Channel 5 in this country, and then it wasn't on for about 3 or 4 years. You couldn't find it anywhere. But then BT Sports picked it up about 5 years ago.
I don't have BT Sports, so I can never watch it.
But then they sometimes have because the early games on, when you have the games at 1 o'clock, that's like 6 o'clock our time, obviously. So we get games. I can, watch baseball all evening sometimes.
There's basketball on Sky. That's about the only thing we can watch.
Fewer of the daytime games. They're doing more and more night games, which is kind of sad because when they do the West Coast games, those are like 3 hours behind me. It's like they don't start till 10 or 11 at night.
Yeah. That must be hot.
I can't believe we've still got the 2 viewers that we had about 10 minutes ago.
Maybe they like baseball.
Robert.
Yeah.
Okay, I have in my hand.
We don't want to know.
Steady on.
Seriously, it might be audio only, but still be careful.
Doctor Who and the Creature from the Pit, written by David Fisher, Target novel. So you're saying this isn't, or what? What's going on? This is 1981. Cost cover price of 90p.
Hold on, I'm just having a look because I've got it on my.
Had you finished, Mary, or are they talking all over your slot?
Yes,
I know.
You realise we're still podcasting at the moment, don't you, Kirby?
I wonder if you can still. Yeah, I know. I wonder if you can still do this. The back page says, if you write to this address at Target.
Oh yeah, I don't think
Street, so. You get a free entry into the Target draw, and you get a free Target badge.
Yeah, I doubt it.
God, right then. Okay, So before we go, I thought I might as well play the audio from
David Fisher did
the
to
things
us.
that we
No,
talked
just someone.
about.
Stones of Blood. Stones of Blood was one, and Andros of Tara.
Marvellous.
They were originally done by Terence Dix.
Hooray.
Okay.
The little talk I had with the lovely Jessica Martin.
I'd like to present the new Prime Minister.
What the hell is TikTok up to? Let's try that again.
Guys, I'm at the London Film and Comic Con, and guess who I bumped into?
That's me, by the way.
I wasn't in Star Trek, I was in Doctor Who, I'm that one. Hello, guys.
That's a lovely... Ooh, I just closed the window down.
Welcome to Training Camp.
Now it's playing another video I don't want to play, because I closed the window down.
You know, she has also done audios as her vampire character.
She does. She's very good, and she's very multi-talented. Of course, this is the one with the lovely Donald Fullilove, i.e. Goldie Wilson. Hang on, what is it playing it from the middle bit for?
The new Prime Minister, Goldie.
I'm here to replace Boris.
No apologies.
My motto is honesty, decency, integrity. I should be the PM of the UK, or England, I should say.
Vote Prime Minister Goldie Wilson.
I like the sound of that.
There you go. What a sport he was.
I can do a lot better than that. That was really good.
Thank you. I'm so pleased he was up for that. And of course,
what you should have done,
his character. What
is mentioned that at the beginning of the episode and teased it throughout the episode?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that was actually really good.
Oh, thank you.
That would have kept the viewers hanging around.
I mean, you kind of like missed the trick there, mate. That was,
do you think that's the highlight of the show then, dear?
That's probably the highlight of the 500 episodes.
I did big it up by saying that I finally got to, around the opportunity to direct a Hollywood actor. This is the last thing I'm going to play, which is the audio from the video that Isabella was asked to talk in. Here we go. Oh, don't do this to me! Right, let's try again.
Quality podcasting.
How are you? Can I shake your hand?
That's not her, by the way. Some girl.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you like this.
It's coming up. There we go.
I met David Harbour, and he's probably one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met. Honestly, he's so sweet. So my pop. But yeah, honestly, words can't describe how I'm feeling right now. I'm so happy.
There we go. That was Isabella still floating around with glee after meeting David Harbour. Right, so that... I think that could be it. I hope it is anyway. And next time, I can't even remember what's on the next episode because I'm so sort of bamboozled by the stuff the way this podcast has gone this evening.
The Time of the Angels River Song one.
Ah, so
we're doing them both together.
We're not going to be. Yes, of course, we're doing
earlier.
them together. Never again will we splitting episodes in two because there's nothing that we can safely say.
So we did talk about doing like 2 episodes per podcast anyway. Are we going to do that?
No. Can you imagine doing 2 episodes per... Oh, you mean... Yeah, when it's combines one story in 2 episodes, yes. But can you imagine doing 2 separate episodes per podcast with Kirby on the show?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
God.
Yeah, well, we were discussing offline. Apparently, you didn't see it.
No, I don't take much notice of what you lot
start
talk
getting
about.
to some of the absolute dreck.
Yeah, like
I think, hold on. I'm just checking. We're there.
Right, no. We're going to do it as it is. It's one story per episode of the show.
As I said on our little private group chat earlier, maybe when the episodes start getting really, really poor, we should start doing entire series on one podcast.
Look, if I thought about, if I realised how long it was going to take to do the journey, there was no chance I'd be able to watch all those episodes to do one series per
that's
episode.
The brilliance.
That's the idea.
That's the brilliance of it. You don't have to watch them. I'm saving you so much time.
There is a
from
phrase.
Utter rubbish.
There is a phrase that covers that as a bit late now. Yeah,
no, it's not.
Thought about it all those years ago.
Yeah. We can change. Look, if they're contemplating bringing kick-ins in football instead of throw-ins, we can definitely start contemplating not doing like the rubbish episodes. Maybe we should just start again.
I have to be true to the original format of the journey, and sadly, for obviously all your opinions on certain episodes of Moffat and the Chibnall era, continue as we are until I can finally retire. Right then, so
I'm giving you the opportunity.
No, I'm not
going to
do that.
Open goal here,
no,
Adam. Literally.
No.
The keeper is still up.
I'm
the other end
hoping,
of the pitch,
Ben. I'm
fallen
hoping,
over,
Ben.
And he's being bundled by the attackers from the other team,
and
you've got an open
we've got
goal.
We've got three viewers. My God, it's gone up. No, right.
An ideal world. In like 6 weeks' time.
What I'm hoping is
we can be done by Christmas.
If Kirby hates these episodes so much, we'll actually get the synopsis done in about 2 minutes, and we can actually have much quicker.
That's never going to happen.
No, I will complain
vitally
about.
I don't care. I'll just go in the other room if you want to spend 3 hours complaining
one episode at a time. We're probably going to be going on.
No, Mary, it's not one episode. It's one story at a time. One story. So the next 2 episodes are encompassed in one story. That gets us to episode 5. Right, anyway.
Everybody cheer.
I will count out and see how many we've got left. You really
I don't care.
Not right now. It's because I'm not organized that way.
I'm not really bothered.
Everybody who wants to do one series per podcast, clap and cheer now. I think that's everybody, Adam.
That'll be the end of the show in about 3 weeks then. Anyway, so until next time when we'll be doing the River Song Angel episodes, thank you. Hang on, am I on next week? I don't know if I know what I'm doing next week.
Yeah, are you?
I'm just checking my very busy... Oh, yes, I am. Oh, well. So until then, thank you for listening, watching, taking part in the show. Please help me. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Fancy Pants.
Bye.
If you call our TV programme seasons, we'll call your series.
The 20 Megabyte Doctor Who podcast is an APV Services production sponsored by whowon.co.uk, lavazi.co.uk. We are a proud member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance. Doctor Who is a trademark of the BBC. No copyright infringement intended.